"Make it quick, cowboy. I won't scream," said the wounded Apache girl who was stuck under the canyon. The canyon winds howled like ancient spirits calling out warnings, their voices swallowed by the towering cliffs and empty desert stretching endlessly. Beneath the merciless sun, Wyatt Hale, known across the frontier as the cowboy who never ran from danger, tightened. His grip on the reins as his horse picked its way through the narrow path. He had been riding since dawn, searching for missing cattle, but the uneasy feeling in his chest told him something else was waiting for him in these canyons, something alive, frightened, and fighting to hold on. As he rounded a bend, he heard it, a weak, trembling voice carried by the wind, so faint he almost believed he imagined it. But Wyatt wasn't the kind of man who ignored a cry for help. He dismounted, boots crunching against gravel, and pushed deeper into the shadows between the rocks until he saw her, slumped against a massive boulder, her breath ragged, her arms streaked with dried blood. She was young, barely more than 20, and unmistakably Apache. Her long black hair tangled with dust, her traditional beaded belt torn, her shoulder wounded, as if a brutal struggle had taken place. Her dark eyes flickered open as he approached, fear mixing with defiance, and when he knelt beside her, she whispered words that sent a chill straight through his bones. "Make it quick. Cowboy, I won't scream." Her voice held no fear for her own life, only the resigned strength of someone who believed the worst was already coming. Wyatt froze, realizing instantly what she thought he was, a threat. Another white man who saw her people as enemies. But Wyatt shook his head slowly, raising both hands. "I ain't here to hurt you," he said gently. "I'm here because someone needed help." She blinked, confused, and he saw in her expression that trust didn't come easily, nor had life ever given her a reason to expect kindness. His gaze drifted to her leg, pinned beneath a heavy slab of rock that must have fallen during a recent landslide. She was trapped, wounded, and alone in a place where even the healthy didn't survive long. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated, then whispered, "Tala, daughter of Chief Haskin." A wave of shock washed over him. Her father was one of the most respected leaders of the Apache Nation, a man feared by settlers but admired for his sense of justice. If she died here, war could ignite across the frontier. Wyatt swallowed hard. "I'm Wyatt Hale. I ain't your enemy." She studied him for a long moment, her eyes sharp even through the pain, and finally gave a faint nod. "If you're going to free me, do it fast. I won't scream." He shook his head, with a faint smile despite the gravity of the moment. "You can scream all you want, ma'am. No shame in it." She turned her face away, stubborn even in agony. Wyatt moved carefully, examining the rock trapping her. It was heavy, dangerously wedged, and one wrong shift could crush her completely. As he worked, he realized she had been running, her footprints behind. Her told the story. Someone had chased her. Someone had wanted her hurt or dead. He didn't tell her what he saw. She didn't need more fear. Instead, he asked, "Who did this?" She swallowed hard. "Men from the silver mines. They tried to take me. My father refused their deal." Wyatt's blood boiled. He had heard stories of the mine owners, ruthless men who took what they wanted. Tala had fled, but the canyon had betrayed her with falling rock. He forced his anger down. First, he had to get her out alive. He wrapped his arms around the stone, gritting his teeth as he strained with all his strength. Muscles burned, dust spilling across his boots, the weight refusing to budge. Tala clenched her jaw, refusing to cry out even when the pressure shifted painfully. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm gonna get you out." She stared at him, breathing hard. "Why?" Wyatt met her gaze with a seriousness that cut deeper than any knife. "Because a person in pain ain't my enemy, and because no woman deserves to die alone in a canyon." Something in her eyes softened, just a fraction, but enough to tell him she believed him now. He readjusted his stance, planted his boots, and heaved again with everything he had. This time the rock moved, just an inch but enough. Tala gasped, her body trembling as her legs slipped free. Wyatt dropped to his knees instantly, sliding an arm under her back to steady her. She sagged against his chest, her face pressed near his shoulder, her breath warm but weak. You did scream, he teased lightly. She looked up at him with a flicker of defiance. I breathed loudly, he laughed under his breath. But the moment of relief was short-lived. In the distance, echoing through the canyon walls, came the unmistakable sound of horses. Several of them. Tala stiffened. "They're coming back," she whispered. Wyatt's eyes hardened. He lifted her gently into his arms and began moving toward his horse. "Then they're going to wish they hadn't. Esme?" He carried her through the canyon shadows, dust swirling around his boots and danger closing in behind them. Something shifted between them, not trust, not yet, but a fragile bond born in pain and fire. And what waited ahead would test them both in ways neither could imagine. Wyatt's boots pounded against the canyon floor as he carried Tala toward his horse, her breath shallow and rapid against his chest. Behind them, the thunder of hooves grew louder, echoing through the rocky walls like war drums. The men from the silver mine, armed, vicious, desperate to cover their crime, were closing in. Wyatt tightened his hold on her, feeling the tremble of her wounded body as she fought to stay conscious. "Stay with me," he muttered. Tala, her voice barely a whisper, replied, "Cowboy, you should leave me." "Save yourself," Wyatt almost snorted. "Not a chance." He reached his horse, quickly lifted her onto the saddle and swung up behind her, one arm around her waist to keep her steady. The moment he nudged the horse into motion, gunshots cracked through the air. Splinters of stone exploded beside them, and the horse jerked in panic. But Wyatt's firm grip kept it steady as they tore across the desert floor. Tala's head rested weakly against his chest, but her voice cut through the chaos. "They won't stop, not until I'm dead." Wyatt leaned down, his mouth near her ear. "Then they'll learn quick that I shoot, straighter than they ride." But Tala shook, her head faintly. "You don't understand. They fear my father. Killing me would break him. They want war between your people and mine. They want to profit when the land burns." Wyatt cursed under his breath. The mine owners weren't just criminals. They were playing with matches over a powder keg, and Tala was the fuse. He guided the horse into a narrow ravine, hoping the twisting path would slow their pursuers. The canyon closed around them, shadows swallowing the sunlit desert behind. "Wyatt," she murmured, "if we don't make it, promise me something." "Don't talk like that," he said sharply. "Promise me," she insisted with what strength she had left. He hesitated. "All right." "Name it." Her dark eyes lifted to his, filled with a courage that made his heart tighten. "Tell my father I fought, that I didn't scream." Wyatt's jaw clenched. "You'll tell him yourself." But her eyelids fluttered, her body limp against him. He felt her slipping. Panic surged through him. He stopped the horse and pulled her gently into his arms. "Tala, hey!" "Stay awake." Her lips parted slightly. "I trust you." The words were so soft they might have been imagined, but they hit him like a hammer. Then a bullet whistled past his ear. The men had found them. Wyatt cursed, pulled Tala tight and kicked the horse into motion again. They emerged into a wide plateau, the sun blinding as they broke from the shadows. Ahead in the distance, Wyatt spotted something familiar, the boundary of Apache land. If he crossed it, the mine men would hesitate. Maybe, maybe not. But it was the only chance Tala had. He drove the horse faster. The riders behind them shouted, their voices mocking and cruel. "Drop the girl, cowboy. She's not worth dying for." Wyatt twisted around, drew his revolver, and fired a warning shot that forced one rider to veer away. "You don't get to judge her worth," Wyatt growled. "And you damn sure don't touch her." Another bullet grazed his shoulder. He gritted his teeth and fired again, dropping one rider hard into the dust. But there were still 3 more, and they were gaining. Tala stirred weakly, her voice fragile. "Cowboy, you shouldn't die for me." "I ain't dying," he said. "And neither are you." Suddenly, a powerful war cry split the sky. Wyatt looked up to see Apache warriors on the ridge, bows drawn, rifles aimed, responding to the sacred whistle Tala carried around her neck, which had fallen loose when he lifted her earlier. It must have sounded during the chase, carried on the wind to her people. In seconds, arrows and gunfire rained down from above. The mine riders panicked, their horses bucking wildly. Wyatt held Tala tight as the warriors swept down like a thunderstorm of vengeance. When the last enemy fell, Chief Haskin himself rode forward. His expression carved from stone, but his eyes burning with fear as he saw his daughter slumped in Wyatt's arms. Wyatt dismounted slowly, lowering her into her father's embrace. "She's alive," he said gently. The chief looked at him, years of grief and pride etched across his face. "You saved her," he said. "Why?" Wyatt swallowed. "Because she asked me not to let her die alone. And because she deserved to live." Tala's hand rose weakly, touching her father's face. "He helped me," she whispered. Chief Haskin closed his eyes, relief washing over him. When he opened them again, he looked at Wyatt with a depth of respect Wyatt had never known from any man. "You are welcome in my lands," the chief said. "You ride with honor." Wyatt tipped his hat slightly. "Just doing what was right." As the Apache warriors carried Tala home, she glanced back at Wyatt, their eyes locking for a lingering moment, a silent promise that their story wasn't ending here. And as the sun set over the desert, painting the sky in gold and fire, Wyatt felt something shift inside him, a feeling he hadn't known in years: hope.